it's me again, your favorite non-binary demon, Disorganized Aster, with a slick and slightly delirious update. Maybe a slightly unnecessary one, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what post release support looks like for development, specifically the patch cycle and DLC cycle looks like from the inside, because I think for some people at least there's a little bit of kind of a misconception of what that looks like for development. Um, so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. So let's say your favorite game comes out. So got release, and you've got patch, and we've got DLC. These are the important things that are going to be coming out for the game. And things I find players seem to think is that the entire dev team goes pile on here, pile on here, pile on here, and just going on like that. It's just the entire a wave of people going on and on like that. And that's not really how it goes. So we're gonna move on like this. So it's more like you got release. You know you're going to have your, what color did I use for patch? Patch is blue. You know you're going to have day 0 patch, 1 patch. You're going to have patch 1, patch 2, patch 3. And let's say you're really lucky. That's all the patches you're going to have before you have DLC. Now, you're not going to have the entire team piling on. You're going to have your release day. Release day, everybody's going to be piled on. That's just the way it's going to be. Same for day 0. So everybody is here. So we're going to go ahead and have everybody here. We're going to have everybody here. But we're only going to allocate a certain number of people here. A certain number of people here. So it's going to be our patch team. Then we're going to have our DLC team here. And we're going to try really hard to not have our patch team and our DLC team overlap at any time. Now, there's going to be times where our patch team is going to have enough problems that we're going to have to beg, borrow, and steal from our DLC team. But we're going to try really hard not to do that, because when that happens, we're going to have to push DLC out. The more we have to beg, borrow, and steal from our DLC team, the further DLC goes out. So sometimes patch gets smaller in order to save DLC, if that makes sense. So I'm a little bit delirious right now. I know might not be making sense, but that's That is the way you kind of structure your development team and post release to try to make sure that we've got dates set for these particular things where we know we want to hit. And it's important that we hit these things because all right, we are releasing to Steam, Sony, Microsoft. Let's leave Nintendo out of it. All of these guys have got their own validation uh, processes that we have to go through. And they each take a certain amount of time. And we have to schedule time with each of these people. Now, Sony is going to take, let's say Sony takes 3 weeks to validate that we're okay to go on the PlayStation 5. Let's say Microsoft takes 2 weeks. Let's say Steam takes 2 weeks. If we're not hitting our timelines over here, what does that do to our release date? You know, if we're not turning in on time over here and somebody else takes these 2 weeks, these 3 weeks, these 2 weeks, even if we're off by just like 2 or 3 days, that puts us 2 weeks behind on our validation testing here. And and this costs money. So we've already paid for these windows. We have to pay for the windows again. It's not fun. So you really, really, really want to make sure you're hitting these timelines. That's why you beg, borrow, and steal from the future to make sure you're hitting timelines on your patches and your DLCs. If 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 I'm making any sense at all, I could be making no sense at all. But that is why post release can be just as stressful as getting to release. And the the stress doesn't end just because you've managed to make your big release. You know, it used to be, you know, you released your game and your studio head would take everybody off on a big vacation and everybody got to take time off and, you know, go celebrate. And these days that's not how it is because of this whole cycle and having to hit these dates. It's it's a big thing now where post release is just as stressful and just as important as pre release. And you have to manage your people and your time and your money just as carefully until you hit end of service now. So that's my fun game development fact for the day. I hope it makes sense. Like I said, I'm sick today, so I don't know if any of this makes any sense at all. But that's why people don't go on big vacations after a game releases. That's why everybody is still drunk and tearing out their hair and stressed and working working like crazy after a game releases. Uh, so when a game releases, if you know somebody in game development, be gentle to them because the stress doesn't end. Have a wonderful day.